Hi everyone. Hi everyone. This is Everton. Welcome for this new episode of Person of the Week. And my name is Everton. I'm a consultant in CRM, customer experience. I create this magazine, weekly magazine called Person of the Week. Weekly, I'm going to bring people who are very important for the history of the customer service, data science, and customer service around the world. This week, I have a special guest, uh, Bill Inmon. Bill is bestseller and author of dozens of the books. He's considered the founder of and father of the actual concept of the data warehouse. He lives in Castle Rock, Colorado, United States. He is founder and chairman of Forest Ring Technology, and it has built the world's first textual ETL software. With textual ETL software, you can read any form of text in any language and convert it in text for a standard relational database management system. So this folder show just few of the books of he, his author. Meanwhile, he's one of the guests of this book I wrote, Data Science and Business Intelligence, advice from important data scientists around the world. He's one of the guests of my book. Bill, welcome for this talk.
Thank you, Everton. My pleasure to be here.
Yeah, how your family? How your how about the new presidents of United States?
Well, there's a lot of different opinions. There's a lot of different opinions about the President of the United States.
Yeah, okay. I pleasure to talk with you. Yeah, because I create this channel to bring acknowledgement. The people who like you that we create concept, create structure. Because most of the youngers they don't know who creates things. They just they use it, everything is ready, but they know how it was started. For this reason, for me very important to create this library. If we put appointment and comment like yours here, right?
Okay.
Okay. So my first question is, Bill. My first question is, what was your eureka moment or pain moment with data? You have the insight to create that warehouse. By the way, was in that moment?
No, that particular moment was in South Africa, and I was enticed to get into a cage with some cheetah. I think that the person that enticed me in was hoping the cheetah would eat me, but it didn't happen.
So, how was your pain moment that you decided you have eureka moments to create the concept?
Well, it's kind of a long story. There really wasn't one moment. There were many moments, but a long time ago, I was involved in doing something called OLTP, and I realized when I was doing OLTP that as important as OLTP was, that there were other forms of computing that were out there that needed to be investigated. But at the time, nobody was paying any attention to anything but OLTP. So I started to write about forms of computing other than OLTP. And this upset a lot of people, by the way. I got letters threatening me, saying that I'm setting our industry back 25 years. So it got me to thinking about some fundamental questions about data. Those questions really centered around business value. Where do we get business value? Now, certainly OLTP has business value, but there's business value elsewhere. There's a lot of things that can be done that should be done, and that's where the whole notion of a data warehouse came from, is the fact that with OLTP systems, you end up having lots and lots of little systems with a lot of overlap between the systems. But there's no way to look at data across your corporation. You can look at one system, you can look at another system, but looking at your entire environment was not right. And so that is what led to data warehousing and the thought that we should have integrated systems. And then one day in data warehousing, I was sitting there thinking, I said, data warehousing is a very important thing in the corporation, but it only represents the structured data in the corporation. That in truth, there's a lot of important data in the corporation that nobody ever looks at. There's data that comes across on the internet. There's email data. There's customer comment data in things like call center conversations. And so all of this other kind of data was never finding its way into management for them to make decisions on. So that's kind of the evolution that I went through, first to data warehouse, then into the understanding that we have to look at text as well as structured systems.
Yeah, very good, because I work with a data warehouse for Boticário, the biggest cosmetic company in Brazil, Mary Kay. I work with a Citibank in Brazil. I participate always using the concept that you created, because we bring all information to one dimension, main dimension, but in one place. The data center was in China, in Japan, whatever, but the structure was data warehouse. And
Yep.
Bill, and I read about you. You had great analysis about customer service and data and internet. For example, in 2018, you wrote an article and prepared following analysis: Nike versus Adidas, listing the voice of the customer. You got the following conclusion: as much company listen the voice of the customer, better this company perform in stock option. What do you think since then? The auto company already learn, or they don't want to learn? They don't have good will. They lack how to do this. What they improved until now? Not just Adidas and Nike.
That
Did you get?
Heverton is a really complex question, and I have to answer it in a strange way. Let me take you back to many years ago in the early days of the computer industry. Many years ago, the IT department was part of the business, and if the business did well, the IT department did well. And I don't know how this happened. I really don't know. I was there, but I don't know how it happened. One day we woke up and people were no longer concerned with the business of their own corporation. They were much more interested in the technology, and it was much easier to change a job and get a raise than it was to have your own company give you a raise. And so what happened was that the IT department became divorced from the business of the corporation, and that has led to some strange occurrences.
Yeah.
The other day, I was at a large company, and I was talking to the large company, the IT people. They didn't even know who a customer was or what product the corporation made. And I thought, how can you do that? I mean, if you are working in a corporation and you don't know who a customer is, how the company makes money, or what products it makes, how can you possibly be making good decisions? And so what's happened is that one of the consequences of the divorce from business is the fact that corporations today don't rely upon IT, and I think a good example of that is corporations do offshore processing. They send everything to India. They have in consultants come in and do work. There's every reason in the world to not trust the IT organization, and so that's what's happened. And I'm sorry that it has happened, but that is the genesis of the problems we have today.
Yeah, Bill, you put in a single way what I was thinking the last 5 years. You put in the single way. I never saw about this out to put the corporation out of the company. What you pointed, it's like the same the answer of the next question. Let me show you something here. For example, you highlight something like that I believe is like a MMA, but the technology is out of the ring.
Yep.
It's something like that. You highlight this, and the universe of the data. For example, this data universe today. If IT is out of the ring, how to put all together that you have cooks, you have big data, Google Analytics, ERP, CRM, business intelligence, market automation, data warehouse, Internet of Things, and now the new GDPR law that you have created, and then and in suddenly you want what we want. You want something like this. Let me show you. Just a second here.
Julie.
Here, then you put all the chaos of information. Then we know that 70% of the time of data scientists is cleaning and preparing data, and not 90% of the time of a miner is to find gold.
Yep, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah. So with this situation, what are your suggestions to integrate more IT, bring it back for the business? What your suggestion that you bring?
I wish I had a good and easy answer for you, but I don't. No. The IT department is in outer space. They're on a rocket going to Mars, and the rest of the world is trying to live here on Earth. I don't know how the IT department is ever going to become aligned with the business. So as an example of it, recently we are starting to talk about data warehouse on the cloud. And by the way, I think I'm a big fan of data warehouse on the cloud. I think that some of the things that have happened have been quite good. But you might ask, why does an organization want to put data warehouse on a cloud? And one of the reasons, I think the most fundamental reason is they want the different departments, marketing and sales and finance, want to take control of their data warehouse away from the organization and IT. And now there are other technical reasons why they want to do that, but my dog is barking in the background.
No, for me, it's okay. For me, it's okay. Continue. For me, it's listen well.
Okay. Well, my wife isn't at home right now.
No problem.
And so, but anyway, I think the divorce of IT from business uh, is final. I think that I don't see IT and business ever coming back together again.
Yeah, I think so. Bill, I'm a CRM consultant, and CRM, since I started in 1999,
Mm-hmm.
suffered the same as data warehouse. They think CRM is just a technology or a software, but it's not. It's architecture like DW is, right?
Yep.
If a data architect is watching this or is going to watch this interview during the next week and needs to create a data strategy, what you suggest to advise him? You have to, start by the data warehouse, cloud, on-premise process. What if you are? I'd ask you to start. What point do you suggest?
Well, what I have a suggestion. One of the things I suggest is if you're looking for a job in a corporation, don't go to work for the IT organization. Go to work for marketing.
It's very dangerous, but it's better.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no career in working for IT, but working for marketing, working for finance, working for sales. That's where I would recommend people look for jobs. Uh,
You are right. You are right. Many of my friends that they are very important in MIS area, they went from IT but became a businessman. You are right.
that that that's 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 what I would suggest to somebody,
Yeah.
and because uh, the IT people are off on a spaceship going to Mars, and who knows where they'll ever end up. And if you want to get on a spaceship and go to Mars, then go to work for your IT organization. But if you
Yeah.
want to have success, go to work for marketing, sales, or finance. Those are and of those three, my favorite is finance, and that's simply because the financial people always have money.
Yeah.
They seem to be able to get money for
Yeah.
projects that they want.
I learned it what you said when I read a book from Peter Druck. He said, "Never fight with marketing. You are going to lose."
Yep,
And then I learned how to deal with them, to make a IT, to be like IT open mind. You know how to create bridge with marketing with IT. Because if I was a traditional IT man, I was already died. You know, you are right, completely right. Good.
well,
Bill, you said in my book that, okay, go ahead.
go ahead. No, no, go ahead.
Bill, you said in my book that you participate that everybody want to kill the data warehouse, but for me it's like a Highlander, né? Player of the technology try to replace the data by data mart, big data warehouse concept architecture that is working with no structured test well, ETL. You,
That
you said that data warehouse with no structured test well will survive longer. You think that it will be long term if you
oh
put all
yes,
together?
I
That the point?
I really and truly think that okay, data warehouse is an architectural structure.
Okay.
We have all of these technologies, and it's the difference between uh, when you build a bridge, you need an architect to tell you how high, how strong, what materials. You still need workers. You still need carpenters and electricians and people like that. But you don't want to go across a bridge that's been designed by a carpenter. You want to go across a bridge that's designed by an architect, because the architect looks at things differently, and the same is true with a data warehouse and people. You're going to need programmers. You're going to need database designers, but you're going to really. Here's my dog is barking.
No, it's
Is it?
mine. Now it's mine.
Is that your dog? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're going to need the architects as long as people want to have believable data, you're going to need a data warehouse. Now, if you ever arrive at the day when you don't need believable data, then you won't need a data warehouse. But when people say I don't need believable data, what you can do is get a spreadsheet and give yourself a salary of $1 million a month. And so it says on the spreadsheet there's $1 million a month, but that doesn't make it real. You better not start to spend $1 million a month, because you'll be broke very quickly. And so when people take for granted that if the data is in a computer, that somehow it must be right, and that is simply not true.
Yeah. You said a few times ago, a few seconds ago, you talk about a cloud. Many projects of data warehouse that I work with were done on-premise environment. It because put all information in cloud was still very expensive. Do you think? I think for put the data warehouse in cloud will be very expensive, or you have to reduce the dimension.
Okay.
What if you want people? If your data architect is going to start now or on-premise and cloud, because there is pain and gain. What you suggestion?
Okay. If you want to use the cloud for archival processing, then that it's going to be very expensive. And in the past, people have tried to use data warehouses for archival processing. And if that's what you want to do, it's going to be very expensive. However, if you take your archival data and separate it out from your data warehouse, then the data warehouse has got a lot of advantages on the cloud. So it's the people that know what they're doing are going to be very successful putting their data on a cloud. The people that don't understand architecture and don't understand what they're doing, they're the ones that are going to waste a lot of money on the cloud.
Yeah. That's it's very rational suggestion. Yeah. Thank. Now I'm going to show you some slide here. Just
Okay.
that I'm going to look. For example, now the IT areas or marketing areas, we have some challenge here. Let me show you.
Okay.
Just a second. For example, now in the marketing we have thousands of tools for prospect, for CRM.
Yep.
We have a marketing, email marketing. We have for BI. We have for campaign management. We have for survey. And the question is, in my point of view, the dream of the marketing is to have all these integrated in online, the real time with back history, the past, with the transactional, the right now, and the operational, with then all these all these tools, platform. How to do with this with so many information? I think that okay, the solution is data warehouse for sure, but how to speed up, how to offer a customer experience for employees or for customer if you have a bunch of information, don't you think? I think those uh, just data warehouse is the solution.
Um, what you've shown in your marketing are really what I would call applications. A
Yeah.
data warehouse is not an application. A data warehouse is simply a place to store your data. So these applications need proper data to operate correctly. So I don't look at that there's a conflict between a data warehouse and these applications. In fact, The applications that are going to be the best applications are the ones that incorporate a data warehouse, not the ones that try to be everything that you need.
Yeah, I think yeah, because most of the application that we develop here in Brazil in South America, we consume information from the data house. Yeah, 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 I got your point. Bill, your company developed the product called the Test or ETL that
Yep.
can help business with the voice of the customer, sentiment analysis. What are the main difference you point out in your tools for the decision makers?
Well, um, okay, that too is a complex question. Let
Yeah.
me tell you something that really surprised me about the voice of the customer. I happen to have some friends that work in college doing work on voice of the customer. And I had always thought that every corporation recognized and needed to understand what their customers were saying. But my friends in academia, and they're very smart people, my friends in academia said, Bill, that's not true. He says, we've done several studies, and 60 to 70% of the people in the corporation don't know and don't care what their customers are saying. They said another 15 to 20% talk about caring about their customer, but they don't do anything about it. In reality, about 10 to 12% of corporations actually try to listen to their customer. And so when I started doing all this stuff, I thought that every corporation understood or needed to know how important it is to listen to your customer. But that's not true. There are lots of corporations that really don't care about their customers. The one organization, one industry. We did a large study for airlines, and I'm going to tell you unequivocally, airlines don't care about their customers. They really and truly don't. Another industry that doesn't care about their customers is the banking and finance industry. They will tell you they do, but in reality, they don't. All they care about is making money off of you. And now there are other industries that do care about their customers. I think the one industry that cares the most about their customers are the food chains, the restaurant and food chains, because if you're in a restaurant or food chain and you start to lose business, then you're very quickly not you're out of business. So restaurants, they know how important it is to listen to their customers. The same goes for the hotel industry. That hotels know that they better listen to their customer, or else they're going to be out of business quickly. So certain industries do know and care about their customer. Other industries could care less about their customers, and so it was a learning experience for me to find out that most businesses really don't care about their customers. Now, it's kind of interesting with this COVID thing that the world has had foisted upon it. I saw an article just the other day. The airlines industry has lost about 80% of the business that it once had, and I think that the airline industry now is starting to recognize that they should have been paying attention to the customer all along, because now they need customers. Before they weren't being receptive to their customers at all. So that's one thing that I've learned is that, quite frankly, most businesses really don't care about their customer, and I think that's a mistake. I think that 10 years from now or 20 years from now, that won't be the case. But that's one thing that I've found out. But there's a lot of other things that go into hearing the voice of your customer. The voice of your customer comes through in lots of ways. It comes through email. It comes through the internet. It comes through call centers. It comes through all kinds of different channels. I was just looking today at a conference on the knowing your customer, and the traditional approach to knowing your customer is to look at sales and see how sales have been succeeding or not succeeding, and there's nothing wrong with looking at sales and analyzing where sales go, but by the time a sale is made, it's too late. The time when you want to know your customer is before they make their selection for what they're going to be buying, and so the difficulty in knowing about your customer is that it comes in all of these forms: call center conversations, internet, and other places, and it's always in the form of text. And quite frankly, corporations have not ever been good at or even successful at managing text. And so that's what Forest Rim Technology does. My company is we're able to read text and turn text into a database that can be analyzed. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the process of analyzing text. You may be surprised to know we've been working on this problem for 18 years. This is not something, and if you were to tell somebody, gee, I want to start a project and it's going to take me 18 years to do it, nearly everybody, and in fact, in their right mind, I've been told that I don't have a right mind, but nearly anybody said, and why is it that text is so difficult? And it doesn't particularly matter what language you speak, but text is difficult. It's incredibly difficult because, and I could go into some. Okay, one of the reasons the same word will have different meanings. The same word will be pronounced differently and have a different meaning, or the sentence structure. At least in English, which is the language that I've grown up with, at least in English, there's all kinds of sentiment, all kinds of language structures, and you have to analyze them very carefully. The other thing, the most difficult thing in textual analytics is understanding that it's not the text that you have to analyze. It's also the context that if you're going to do proper analytics in a text analysis, you can't just look at the text. You've got to look at the context. And the problem with context exists outside of the world of text. Let me give you a quick little example of what I mean by the context residing outside of text. Two guys are standing on a corner, and a young lady walks by, and one guy says to the next, "She's hot." Now, what does "she's hot" mean?
Exactly.
It could mean that the lady's very attractive and the man would like to have a day with her. That's one potential meaning. It could also mean that she's in Brazil in a very hot place, and she's got sweat. She's covered with sweat, so she's hot. Or it could mean that she's in a hospital, and these two guys are doctors, and she has COVID, and she has internally a temperature, and she's hot. It can mean any of these things, and it probably can mean other things as well. So how do we know what it means? Well, we know not from the text, we know from the externals that are we in Houston, Texas, or Louisiana? It's hot in the summertime there.
Yeah.
Are we in a hospital? Are these guys doctors? Then they're talking about our temperature. Is the lady young and attractive and wearing attractive clothes? Then to interpret what's meant by she's hot, you can't look at the text. You've got to look at the externals of the text, and that is very difficult to do. That's why it's taken 18 years for us to understand how to do it.
Oh my God, it's very. And now, when I work with CRM and business intelligence project, okay, we have the data, not traditional ERP system, traditional structured data. We have a situation with the non-structured non-structured data, as you said, and about media. What are you working? If you think, okay, I'm going to provide for marketing traditional data, structured data, non-structured data, and the sentiment of the speaking of the customer in call center.
Yep.
How to balance this? You put all together in your tools already prepared for this too, or not yet for media, for transform the textual in media in textual to read the context, understand it, and offer acknowledgement. What do you think about
our tool knows how to go and treat the externals. Let me say that one of the other things that makes it really complex is depending on what's being said, there are different ways of analyzing it. And let me give you a very simple example. If you're trying to analyze written text, there's rules for written text. There's sentences and verbs and nouns and there's all of those kinds of things like that. But if you're analyzing a conversation, conversations are structured very differently than things that are written. And so if a person were to come into this program right now and start to listen, and they hadn't heard what we're talking about, a lot of what we were saying wouldn't make sense because, what's he saying? Why is he saying that? I don't understand it. And so the structure of a conversation or presentation is very different from the words that you find written in a book or a magazine or a newspaper, and you have to analyze them differently. And so anyway, textual ETL does that. Textual ETL understands that and knows that and does it.
Yeah, for example, one of the people one of my readers that he's going to watch it during this week, he said for me, Evan, I want to, my concern, because in Brazil is cultural, as you said. For example, he tried to sell all this idea of architecture of data, but many people think that data is email marketing, it's just the tools all the end, but no, has all the governance of the data that has to prepare. But now in Brazil, we try, for that reason, I try to bring concept of not just the tools, not just the platform, but the concept to create the culture of the data, not because many people think that, okay, I'm going to, for example, one of the biggest bank in Brazil in 1999 think that, okay, I'm going to put the CRM, everything is going to be solved with my customer. No, it's more complicated than that.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
When the internet was first introduced, everybody said, well, let's get a website and the website will sell what we're doing. and there probably were some websites somewhere that actually did sell things, but I'm going to guarantee you 98% of a website sold nothing.
Yeah.
It may have informed the public of what their choices are, but in terms of actually going and selling, it didn't sell anything.
Yeah.
And so the vendor puts in expectations that are simply unrealistic.
Yeah. In my book that you participate, you wrote a comment that is valid for me. I like your comment that you put. You said when you work to do when you work, you have to do three things: provide value to your customer, provide value to your stakeholders, and provide pain to competition.
That's right.
But and about employees, because for me that work with a customer experience, customer CRM, many companies they are saved because they good have good employee, or because or sometimes they have a bad experience because they have bad employee.
Yep.
How what do you think about you forgot the employee or no?
No, I didn't forget the employee. I didn't forget the employee. But if you don't provide business value to your customer, you're not going to be in business. Not very long. You may be in business a short amount of time, but you have to do that. And it's true that the employees do make a big difference. There's no doubt about that. I would include that now if I had to rewrite it.
Okay. You do you remember? Did you remember the best customer experience that you have in your life?
The best Christmas experience I had in my life.
Uh,
Yeah, yes, I do
what
remember
was
that.
what was?
Well, it was when I got a bicycle. I believe I was 6 years old. That would be my best experience for Christmas in my life.
Yeah. How what was the difference that you said that you did they provide for you?
Um, well, as a kid, I wasn't particularly interested in business value, but I wanted a bike because other all the other kids had a bike, and because with a bicycle you can go places more quickly and efficiently than without a bicycle. So those are the reasons that I. However, for me to try to remember what life was like when I was 6 years old,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm much older than six right now.
Okay. And for example, when I plan for these years, in during this second semester or whatever, when this COVID-19 pass, to create some courses here in Brazil, maybe try to bring you other people like you on purpose, other people to try to bring you for Brazil, for training or for consulting, or maybe some alive for because I want to create a university of the customer when we can bring all this knowledge for Brazilians, for South American people, virtually or private course. Uh, what what your comment about the balance of knowledge that university, company, and the hands-on? How to
Uh,
make how prepare the good professional nowadays? You think that they are missing in university and college?
um, if anything, I'm a big proponent of understanding business and business value first, and then understanding the second, the technology second. But you mentioned classes in Brazil. I don't know if you're aware of it, but we offer over the internet a free class in textual analytics. And
Good, good.
we've had, gosh, in South America, we've had people from Chile, in Peru, in Venezuela, in a couple in Brazil, where else? Argentina. And so it's a 2 week long class, and it's free. We don't charge anything for it. To date, we've had people from 48 different countries. In fact, let me tell you something kind of interesting, and I don't know how to I don't know why this happened. When we
Okay.
first thought about this idea of having a free class, um, we thought that most people that attended would be from the United States. But to date, and we've taught it 5 times now, to date, probably 80% of the people are not from the United States. I don't know what is going on in the United States. I don't know what's going on, but the people in the United States are not particularly interested in business value and textual analytics. But I have to tell you, people from India, people from Australia, people from South America, people from United Arab Emirates, people from Africa. We get people from all over the world taking the class. So and if you're interested, I can send you information on how you can sign up.
Yeah, I invite. I'm showing in bottom of the screen the website of your company that I invite everybody to know about this. I think in Brazil, as I told you, we work in many data warehouse projects, and we have to integrate everything. ETL using email, Excel, Access, mainframe data, SQL Server, everything to put together. And so I think most of the, I think in Brazil, for example, when I help to implement, for example, I work to bring for Brazil a North American company called Mary Kay Cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they are from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
When I sat down with them to explain all the bureaucracy of Brazil to implement the company, about the tax, about the integration, about how to invoice. For example, in United States, there has just one tax. In Brazil, could have 10, 15 invoice in tax just for one invoice.
Wow.
So it's very complicated. For example, we have to translate, to receive information for one system, pass for 3 or 4 more systems to prepare the invoice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very complicated. For that reason, I think most of the country out of the United States, they use ETL. They have to take off the bring value, because we have many not logical procedures for government, for company, whatever. It's very complicated. That I think that the reason that we need to use a lot of integration, ATL, then to bring value, not online time, just for 2 or 3 days after,
Mm-hmm.
when the event occur. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. And Bill, as we are finished now, because I want to give people in Brazil to you more, and continue the conversation that the next talk that I want to bring you here, make for consulting or for training in my complete course that I want to design with you and your company. However, if God decide to hire you today for a last mission, what mission would you like to embrace?
Well, the main thing that I talk about and represent is an architectural approach as opposed to a technical approach, and that's what I'd like to lead people. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but I've done quite a bit of work in Brazil. There is a company in Brazil you may or may not know. They have an office in Sao Paulo. They have an office in Rio de Janeiro. They have an office in Brasilia called PhD Brazil. And
Yeah, we know.
And Luis Pisani is the head of the organization, and through him, I've been to the Pantanal. I've been to Cananea. We went fishing in I've fished all over Brazil. I've been to Manaus and the Amazon, and had many wonderful experiences in Brazil. But I think the main thing I like about Brazil are the caipirinhas.
Yeah.
The Brazil, you can buy a caipirinha in the United States, but it's not the same. It's Brazilians that know how to make caipirinhas.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you something interesting, very interesting.
Yes.
Brazil, that I don't know if you have tried an opportunity to try in Brazil to drink a beverage called made from a fruit called açaí.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's a black. It's like a grape, but it's very small. But prepare a sweet juice like called açaí.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. Okay, everybody use here in Brazil. Everybody drink. However, two American guys from United States, they came here from Brazil, stay in vacation, have a good time, and they went to have surfing in Manaus, in Black River. They went to surf, and then they like a lot this beverage. They fruit açaí. They took this fruit for United States and create a açaí Brazil. They became millionaire because they import and prepare this brand in United States.
Oh, that's good. I like that story. But
I'm going to send the detail. Then you can meet sometime and try it over there.
Okay, I will. I look forward to it. Anyway, I've had many good experiences in Brazil. I fished. I fished with a gentleman who holds world records in fishing. He died a while back. His name was Paulo Amarim, and he was in Vitorio, and he knew more about fishing than anybody I've ever known. If you look in the book of world records, he has more world records than anybody in there. And I actually got to fish with him, and I remember it to this day.
Yeah, very good. If someday if you need some other people like this, because I have some good friends that they're going to they're going to fish in other river in Brazil. My father went a lot, took me a lot to fishing when my childhood. But they go there, stay 1 week in a boat, just fishing. Talk is very interesting. Bill, I'd like to thank you a lot. Okay. We are going to continue this conversation. I like to thank everybody that is going to watch this interview during this week. Okay. My next, I'm going to translate. I'm going to talk just to finish a few in Português. Meu próximo convidado é Pedro Camargo, no dia 11 de janeiro. Ele é a principal autoridade em neuromarketing e comportamento de consumidor na América Latina. É um brasileiro, professor da FGV. Bill, thank you very much. I invite everybody to know Bill and bring his work in forestry-tech.com and make contact with me and make a bridge to talk with him if you need, and make it work together during this week. Okay? Stay safe, Bill, and we are going to work together during this week or during this year. Sorry. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Muito obrigado por vocês que participaram até agora. Espero vocês na próxima semana aqui na Person of the Week. Bye, bye.